Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to part 5, creating scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator using free resources. We're working on our Quonset hangar, and we left off last time. We built our doors on the south side of the hangar. So today we are going to see how far we can get doing some other things. All right. So with our project loaded, we got our Google Earth Pro up with our 3D buildings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some little things over here on the south wall, and then we're going to cut in these windows and doors on the office. All right, it's pretty easy stuff, really. Okay, so what we're going to do first is, if you remember that we created these two end walls that has the people doors in them. Okay, and those are 30-inch doors that we put on each side. So if we remember that we did a mirror. We created one door and it created the other one for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and select those doors, which were those panels, which are Quonset HD. Okay, so let's go into edit mode, and you still have mirroring modifier on. If you go to the wrench, you still have the mirror modifier. It hasn't been applied yet, but we're going to do that soon. So let's select that Quonset HD. Okay, and let's give it a new name just so we can kind of tell it apart, and let's call it P-door. Call it whatever you want, really, but I'm going to call it P-door so I know which one's which. Okay, and let's screencast keys. Always forget that. All right, object, item. All right, select our wall, go tab into edit mode, and let's go polygon select that door and hit P on the period on the number pad to focus that selection. So we have a 30-inch by 7-foot door. Now, if we notice in our prototype image, we have glass in the door. Okay, so we're going to go put those glass panels in. 30-inch door. Can't remember how big the glass would be, so let's get a rough measurement here. Click there, click there. So about 2 feet wide. That would leave us 6 inches on each. No, it wouldn't. If that's 24, it'd leave us 3 inches on either side of the glass, which is about right. And then the height is a little bit less than half the size of the door. Whoops. So let's go 3D path, select our bottom and our top, and it says 2 by 2. We're going to make that 2.5 because I don't know, this image is distorted, so we'll call it 2.5 tall by 2 wide. Okay, so let's go back into Blender, and with our door selected, notice, okay, yeah, alright, with our door selected, use our navigations tools, get that where we want. Let's put a loop cut. Let's turn off, I want the door separate. Okay, so I want the door separate than the walls because we're going to put this wall back. We're going to take these polygons right here and we're going to put those probably back with this wall. So let's make these separate. So select those polygons there, hit P, selection, new selection, and let's call this, I know my names get longer and longer, let's call this Quonset Hangar Door P Door Wall. Okay. Now we can go, but we're just working on this door here. Alright, the door is the only thing left in this particular object. So let's do a Control R, and let's do a loop cut at the bottom, move that in the X direction. I'm going to turn snap off, and let's move that GX minus 0.225, and Control R again, another loop cut, GX 0.25. Alright, then we're going to do a horizontal loop cut. We're going to move that up to the top, and we're going to drop that down, GZ 0.25. Usually the top is thicker than that, so let's backspace, backspace, backspace. So I got, let's see, let's move that down 0.5. Whoops, let's, well, let me Control Z, start over. Okay, Control R, click, drag that up to the top, GZ minus 0.5. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then we're gonna make our window 2.5 tall, so let's Control R, take our loop cut, move it at the top, GZ minus 2.5. So that gives us our door window. Okay, so let's select that polygon there, and P for a new selection, and we'll call that window. Okay, we'll put a little frame around it and then separate the glass. Okay, so a door, we're going to go back into, make sure our door, yeah. Alright, so now we can't select that polygon, which is good. Alright, so I think we're good there. So let's tab out of edit mode. Now we're going to give our door some thickness. So let's double check, make sure our face orientation is correct. Yep. And remember, it's gonna apply the solidification toward the red side of our polygon. Alright, so let's add another modifier, solidify. And usually doors are standard doors an 1 3/8 really. We can make it an 1.5 just to make our measurements easier. So let's find out what an 1.5 is. So to find that in decibel inches, we're going to just take 1.5, divide that by 12, and we get 0.125. Alright, so our thickness of our solidification is going to be 0.125. Alright, so now our door has some thickness to it. Okay? Zoom into the door there. Okay? And we'll worry about the frame and the glass here in a second. We'll do that. Alright, so we can go ahead and apply that, because I think we're good on the solidification. Apply that. And since the door itself is done, we can go ahead and apply that mirror. So let's go ahead and apply the mirror. And let's do a file save. Alright, so the door is now fully three-dimensional. So if we go into tab and turn on that ghost image, you notice that our door is now fully 3D that we can mess with if we wanted to. Okay, and if we come over to the other side, you'll notice that it's also an object now. It's no longer a mirror. Okay, and we can pretty much do tab out of edit mode. We can pretty much go ahead and apply the mirror for the actual wall itself now, because the only thing left to do with that is to give it some thickness later. Alright, so with that wall segment, let's go ahead and apply the mirror. Alright, so those are objects now. Tab in, see? Now it's not a ghost anymore, it's an actual object. Alright, now we can mess with the windows on the door. Those are not, the modifiers aren't applied to those yet. So we can work on one and let it go over to the other one. So let's select our window for our door. Go into edit mode. And let's put a little frame around put a frame around that glass. Okay, and if you remember how we do that, we just do a simple inset. So hit I, escape. Let's turn off ghost. Select that. Select the polygon that you want to do the inset. Then hit I. And let's make that frame 1 inch. And that's going to be 0.083. Okay. And our door is 0.125 thick. And we want, I'm going to make that frame, since the glass is selected, see the glass is selected, let's do two things. Let's move it to the middle of the door, and if our door is 0.125, the middle of the door is going to be 0.0625. So let's move the glass GY minus 0.0625. Okay. Control Z. I forgot to separate the glass out. If you notice, if it beveled. Okay, let's do this again. I'll show you. Alright, I forgot to separate the glass into its own object. So if I did a GY minus 0.0625, notice how it created bevels here, because these vertices are still connected to our frame. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So let's do a Control Z. Whoops, escape. Control Z. There we go. Oops, I undid my inset. So let's do another inset and 0.083. Okay, now our window's there with it selected. Hit P, new selection, and call this window glass. Alright, and then go back into our window, and we're going to call that window frame. Okay, so window frame, we are still in edit mode. So now we need to give it some thickness. So now, let's turn our glass off for a second. Alright, so with the window frame there, let's add a Solidify Modifier to it. And let's make our window, make our frame, let's inset that a little bit. So let's make our frame 1 inch thick. Since our frame is 1 inch wide, let's make it a thickness of 0.08. Let's just make it 0.08 to make it easy. There, so our window has a little thickness to it. Okay, and I'm gonna hit I hit the period on the number pad to focus our selection. Now let's move our frame back a little bit so it's kind of centered in our door. So if our door is a thickness of 0.125 and our window frame is a thickness of 0.08, that gives us a difference of 0.045. Okay, 0.045 divided by 2 is 0.0225. So we're going to move that. We're going to select all, move Y minus 0.0225. So that kind of insets our frame a little bit from our actual door. Okay, kind of like that. And I think that's going to be fine. So let's turn our glass on and move our glass. Oh, let's get out of edit mode. Select our glass and move our glass GY minus 0.0625. And that puts our glass in the middle of our door, just like that. Okay? So we have the door, we have the frame, and we have the window. Now, a couple things on this. We can select the frame. We can go ahead and we can apply the solidification, but we can also at this point apply the mirror. So we can go ahead and apply all here. So now apply all, both the mirror and the solidify has been applied. Alright, so if I go into edit mode, you'll notice now we have the frame on the other side too. So we need to select our glass, get out of edit mode by hitting tab, select our glass, and let's go ahead and apply that mirror modifier. Okay, so now our people doors on each side of the hangar doors is complete. Sorry, I need to get a drink of coffee there. Alright, next we're going to work on the office wall. Okay, so now I've done some measuring ahead of time just to speed us up a little bit, but let's bring in our prototype, and let's middle mouse button in Google Earth Pro and move that around. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows, 2 people doors. And these right here are glass block windows. I can tell you right now, just because of experience, these are bathrooms. And how I know that is usually in these buildings that were designed in the 1960s, 50s, etc. Bathroom windows were always, in these industrial buildings, were always glass blocks. Okay, they were always set high on the wall so people could peek into them. And also, what gives this away too is this box right here is an air vent. Okay, kind of like an exhaust fan to get all the, either to bring fresh air in or pump air out. And then this right here, I can tell, is a sewer vent sticking up through the roof. Alright, so this block right here in the middle is most likely the bathrooms. Okay, men and women's bathrooms. Alright, so we have 2 glass block windows. We have 6 4 by 4 foot windows, and we have 2 people doors. If you notice in a house or a building, this is typical that the top of the windows are always level with the top of the doors, okay? Because the headers for the load have to be equal across. Now, this is most likely a concrete block addition. Okay, it's not made out of the same material as the hangar. So we have a wall that's 8 inches thick, and the glass block windows are at the top. Okay, and then across the top, instead of having a thickness going across the window like this right here, usually with a glass block, with a masonry wall like this, there's just a piece of steel that goes across the top, okay, and that's called the lintel, okay? So the thickness there at the top is equal with the top of the wall. All right, so I told you more than you really probably need to know about construction, but anyway, that's how that's how that's constructed anyway. All right, so we're going to cut in the windows and the doors. All right, so we need some distances, and you can measure from either end. All right, I measured here, okay, and so we got 8. I measured 8 feet to begin with. Click. Oops, I got 3D path on. I just want regular path. So click here and click that window, and we're getting about 8 feet. So we're going to call it 8 feet, and then I got a 4-foot window, and then I got a 2-foot gap, and then I got a door. Let's see what actual size the door is. So clear that path, and if I can try, I see a shadow here, and I think I got it here. So yeah, see, we're looking at a standard 3-foot door. All right, so we're going to go 8 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, and then we're going to go, I think that's another close to 8. We'll call it 7. Oops. And we'll call that 6. 6 1/4. It doesn't really matter. So 8, 2, 3, 7, 4, 6 1/4, 4. Okay. If you guys see what I'm doing there, I'm trying to get as many measurements as I can ahead of time. All right. So let's minimize that. Let's select our office wall, tab into edit mode. So we have the line where we're going to measure off of. So we're going to do a series of loop cuts, and gotta figure out now. These are, if I do a loop cut, I don't. Yeah, since there's these aren't connected really, shouldn't do a loop cut all the way across. Yeah, it doesn't do a loop cut all the way across because there's an extra vertice here. So let me escape and let me select that this wall and hide it, and let's select this wall and hide it. Alright, so I should be able to get a loop cut. No, I can't because I have an extra vertice in there. Okay, so let me see what I need to do. Okay, I only have 4 vertices. Why is it doing that? Why? Let's find out. Let's Alt-H, bring those back. Let's select this one, hide that one. It might be because there's, yeah, shared vertice. Okay. But for now, we're going to just do the vertical cuts for right now, so we're okay for right this second. So, alright, so let's make our loop cuts. Control R, slide that to the end. We're moving in the Y negative direction, so G, Y minus 8. Okay, and then we're going, refresh my memory here, 8, 4, 2, 3, 7. 8, 4, 3, 2, 7. 8, 4, 2, 3, 7. Okay. 8. Oops. 4. 2. Another loop cut here. GY minus 2. And then our door. Okay, loop cut. GY minus 3. And then 7, I believe. Control R. Slide that down. GY minus 7. And then another window. Control R. Move that down. GY minus 4. Okay. Let's bring up our prototype. And we went 6 1/4 and then another window. Alright, so Control R. GY minus 6.25 and then another window. Control R. Slide that down. GY minus 4. So we got a window here, a window here, and a window here. Okay. So now we're at the bathroom windows. And we are going to go clear that path. We're going to go from here to here. 5.5, and then okay, so let's get that 5.5 in there so I don't forget it. So we're gonna Control R, move that down, GY minus 5.5. Now we need to measure our glass block windows, and these aren't standard sizes, by the way. These are usually custom size. So let's click there and click there. They're 4 feet wide too, so they look like 4 by 2. Let me measure the height, even though I'm not worried about the height yet. And we're going to go to this shiny part, because the light is hitting the sill of the window. Click there and click there. So it looks like 4 by 3. That doesn't really, I'm not convinced on that. So let's not do the shiny part. Let's go to the glass block itself. Click here, click there. 2 1/4. We can make it 2 1/4, but we're not worried about that right now. Okay, so we got 4 wide. So let's do another. Let's get the distance between the windows. 5 foot. So we got 4, 5, 4. Okay. So let's go back into Blender. Move that down. GY minus 4. And let's go Control R. GY minus 5. And another Control R. GY minus 4. So we got the 2 bathroom windows. Okay. And we're going to move that down. Let's clear some of this and measure from this window to this window. And we got 10 point, it looks like I overshot, so I'm going to call that 10 feet. So we got 10, then another 4. So Control R, slide down, GY minus 10, and then Control R, GY minus 4 for the window. Then we go from the window, clear that, window to the door. We're looking, I'm going to call it 7.5. So we got 7.5, 3 for the door. Eight. 7.5, 3, 8. I bet it could be 8, 3, 8, but we'll make it 7.5. Alright, so back into Blender, Control R, click, slide, GY minus 7.5. Now we need our door, GY minus 3, and then we got Control R, and call that GY minus 8. Then it's a window, 4 feet. Control R, GY minus 4. And that gives us our window here. I think we got one more window left. Yeah, right here. Alright, so that's going to clear that. We're going to go from here to here. We're going to call it 11.5 feet. And then a window. Alright, so Control R. Move that down. GY minus 11.5. Could be 12. Control R. Click, drag. GY minus 4. Okay, so we got our vertical cuts in our wall for our windows and doors. Okay, so now since we did a bunch of vertical cuts, this vertical cut from here to here only has 2 vertices, one here and one here. These polygons from this point all the way down here are no longer shared with this wall right here in the object. Okay, if you notice, we would not be able to put a horizontal loop cut in this polygon right here unless we separated this wall from this wall, okay? Because there's an extra vertice, okay? And loop cuts are really particular about the number of vertices. Now, there's some workarounds, but we're only concerned about our vertical from the window on down. Okay, so this will work out just fine. Okay, so with the office wall, we know the top of our door is 7 feet. So we're going to Control R, click, move that down, and then GZ7. Okay, so that gives us the top of the doors and the top of the windows. Okay. Now, we can make another loop cut for the bottom of our windows if we want to, which is fine. And it will put a cut across the door. And the reason I'm okay with that is because I don't want to do a whole bunch of separate loop cuts. I just want to make one line, and then I will join polygons together later. Alright, so let's put our loop cut for our bottom of our windows. So Control R, click, move that up, and let's drop that down -4. So we have our window here, door, window, wall, window, 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 window. Is that right? No, that's not right. How many windows did I put in there? Did I put too many? Did I put too many windows in there? Oh, these, I selected the bathroom windows. We don't want those. These are the bathroom windows. So we got window, 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 bathroom window, bathroom window, 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 window. Okay? Sorry about that. All right, so we have our bathroom windows. And what I'm going to show you is we're going to, our bathroom windows we got, and those aren't opening windows. I think those are just pane glass windows. There might be some grid framing, but I can't tell. But we're just going to make them one single pane with a frame. Okay, but we'll do that later. But let's go ahead and hit P with those selected, P for new selection. And then I got to find where my office windows are in my table. So let's hit period. And there they are right there, office wall. Let's rename that to office wall window. Hit enter. Okay. And let's select our people doors. There's one there. And there's one there. So let's hit P, selection. Let's call this office P door. Okay. Now we need to extract out our windows for our bathroom, except the dimension of our window is probably not correct. So let's turn on vertice, turn on snap, come down here and do a measure, and from this node to this node is 1.62, and we said that that was 2.5, right? So let's do a calculation real quick. So 2.5 minus 1.62602 is a weird measurement. Alright, so let's do a, let's hover over that, hit delete, get rid of that, go back to our selection, and let's do a loop cut. Click here, move that up, turn snap off, and then let's drop that down, GZ minus 0.87398. Okay. I know it's a weird measurement, but that's what we calculated. So let's select these two polygons and these two polygons. Those are our bathroom windows. And let's hit P, select office wall bathroom. Okay. We're not putting bathroom in, so we'll just leave it, just call it that. Alright, so we got our windows separated out, we got our door separated out, and our bathroom windows separated out. Okay. And we'll fix this kind of stuff later. Alright. So let's get out of edit mode. See what we got. Okay, now what I'm going to do is let's go back into our office wall and let's get rid of something. Let me turn on ghost mode here. Go tab. Alright, so we don't know what the inside of the building looks like. And I'm going to I got this polygon right here hidden, so if I hit Control Alt H to unhide it. But this dividing wall here, I don't know if that, I'm pretty sure it's there, but what we're going to do in real life, but we don't know what the inside of the building is looking like. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to go ahead and delete this wall for now. I'm going to hit P, selection, and call this office wall scrap. I don't want to delete it. I just want to remove it from this selection, this object for now. So let's call that office wall scrap, and let's turn that off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to create I'm going to add a modifier, a Solidify modifier for the thickness of the walls. Okay? And so in order to do that, it's just we're going to select the office wall, which we have, and I'm going to stay in edit mode because I want to show you something, show you what happens to when you do a solidify and you have a corner. Okay, now it's going to add in a whole bunch of unnecessary polygons eventually, but we can deal with, I'll show you what I do with those sometimes. Alright, but anyway, with our office wall selected and we're in edit mode, let's go to the modifiers. So go to the wrench, go to modifier, hit Solidify modifier, and I'm pretty sure our orientation of our polygons is fine in terms of faces, but we'll double check. Yeah, don't worry about the pink because we have a, let me undo the solidify here. Alright, so if I go into face orientation, everything's nice and blue. If I go to the modifier and add a solidify modifier, you get all this interference here. That's because our wall isn't very thick and they're touching each other. They're not really, but the resolution of Blender, the closer you get in, they'll disappear. Alright, so let's get out of face orientation mode, go back into ghost. There we go. Alright, so we have a solidify modifier, and let's make our walls 8 inches thick, and that's going to be 0.6 feet. 8 divided by 12. Okay, so that gives us thickness of our walls. Alright, because a concrete block is 8 inches wide. Now, if I apply that modifier, let's apply the modifier. Oh, you can't apply in edit mode, so tab out of edit mode, then apply your solidify modifier, then go into edit mode. You'll notice we have a whole bunch of polygons that we don't really need. Okay? Usually you don't need the bottoms because they're going to be on the ground anyway. You're never going to see them. So you can select all of those. And an easy way to select is go a nice side view. And this is the left side of the building. So tilde L, straight on view. And then you can hold your shift key and select all those bottom polygons just like that. Hit delete, delete faces. Okay? And you can sometimes get rid of the tops too, because the tops are usually hidden by ceilings and walls. So let's go, do I want to do that? Yeah, I do. Okay, so let's go tilde L, get a straight on, and let's select these faces and these faces across the top. We don't really need those either, so let's hit delete faces. Alright, so we got rid of some unnecessary polygons. Okay, probably don't need this where it touches that wall either. Okay, and we don't need these that touch that wall either. That's just unnecessary. So delete faces. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something that happens in the corners when you do a Solidify Modifier. If you notice, we'll zoom in here. Actually, I don't think it did it here. No, it didn't. Actually, that corner looks good. Sometimes you'll get these corners will kind of angle in and touch because it doesn't average. Okay, and it might be doing it anyway. I'll show you what, see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this vertice right here and look at the coordinate for the X. If you notice that the coordinate for the X is minus 71.4. If I come down to this corner and click that one, it's not the exact same, because the Solidify modifier in corners uses an average. It doesn't move this one in this 8 inches and then move it this way in 8 inches. It's Blender's a little goofy like that. But we know that this vertice and this vertice on the inside of the wall should be equal in the same X as all of these. Okay, so how you can get those moved is select this vertice, change your transformation pivot point to 3D cursor, okay, and then select the ones that you want to move, these two here. Oh, I'm sorry. Select this vertice here and do a Shift S, move your cursor to that point. Then select the two vertices that you want to move. And since we're going to scale them in the X direction the exact same, do S, X, 0. And now these vertices are now equal with this one. Alright, so if I click this one, we got minus 71.4. And if I click this one, it's now minus 71.4. Now, this wall is angled again to this corner on this one. So you have to do the same on this wall. So select the correct thickness of the wall, which is going to be away from the corner, and move your cursor, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then select the two vertices that you want to move. Now these are going to be scaled in the Y direction, so hit S, Y, 0, and then it moves these out. So now this corner is 90 degrees. Okay, so usually that's what you have to do, is fix your corners depending on how detailed you want to get. Okay, so we fixed that corner. Alright, so we can tab out of that. Not tab out of that, just unselect. So now we have the thickness of our office wall, which is 8 inches thick. We fixed this corner. Now what we're going to do is, in this next step, we are going to take the inside edges of our wall, and we're going to make those their own object for the interior of the wall. Alright, so let's turn on polygons, Okay, and let's swing around this way, and let's turn our roof off. So come down here to our roof and turn our roof off and get out of ghost mode. Oh, we got an extra wall we need to get rid of here or turn off. And that is our Quonset itself. So let's turn that wall off just so we can see the back of our office. And we are still editing our office. And we're going to select all the interior faces of our office. Okay? Now, don't get the insets around the windows. This part here, we want to leave those to the outside wall. Okay? So let's just select these inner faces of our office. And I'm just doing a series of shift selects, okay? Just like this. I don't want the insides of our windows and our doors. I don't want, like I said, I don't want the edges around our windows. I want to leave those part of the exterior wall. Alright, so we have all of the interior faces selected. You might flip around to make sure that you didn't accidentally select an exterior face. Alright, so now all of our interior faces are selected, and I'm going to hit P, move those to a new selection, hit period to focus in here, and let's call this office interior. Am I spelling it right? Yeah, interior walls. Hit enter. Okay. Alright, so let's select our office wall again and look, and let's turn off the interior walls just so you can see what we did. So we have all the facings around our windows and our doors and the exterior faces of our wall. So when we apply our concrete block material, it will put concrete block material around our windows. Okay, so you see that from the outside. So that's what I was doing there. So the next step is, let's get out of edit mode from our office wall now. Now, our wall has thickness. So what we want to do now is move the windows back into the wall and the doors back into the wall, so it looks like they're recessed into the walls. Okay, and if we look at our photo, it looks like, I mean, the windows are going to be centered in the concrete block. Alright, so we gave a thickness to our concrete block 0.6 feet. Okay, and if, let's say, we want to make our window frames 0.2 feet, the difference is 0.4. So we're going to have 0.2 on the outside of our wall and 0.2 on the inside of our wall, and then the thickness. No, that's not right. Yeah, that is right. So we're going to have 0.2 feet on the outside, 0.2 feet on the inside, and the thickness of our frames are going to be 0.2. So that 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2 is 0.6. Okay. Now our doors will be a little different. Okay, so let's do our windows first. So let's select our windows. Let's zoom into a window so we can see what it looks like. And all the windows are selected. And let's move those in the X direction. GX 0.2. So we inset our windows 0.2 feet. Okay, just a little under 3 inches. Okay. Now we can select our doors and we can move those back. All right. So let's move our doors. Let's move those back the same, just to make things easy. So select the doors, GX 0.2. All right, and then we have to do our bathroom windows. So select your bathroom windows, GX 0.2. Okay. Now let's make frames around our windows. Okay, so with the windows selected, go into edit mode, and with polygon select turned on, hit A to select them all. Let's do an inset with I and make our inset 0.2. Okay, and then let's save our windows out, the glass, so hit P with them all selected, and come down here and rename this to office wall window glass. Okay. Then with our windows selected, make sure our windows are selected. Let's give them some thickness, and we're going to make a thickness. So add a Solidify Modifier and make the thickness 0.2. Okay. And let's go apply that. Oh, I can't because I'm in edit mode. So tab out. So we have some thickness. And let's apply that modifier. So our windows are now, window frames are in now with thickness, true thickness, because we applied our modifier. See? We have polygons there now. And let's move our glass. Let's tab out of that, select our glass, and our glass is going to be the center of the wall, so that's going to be 0.3. So let's GX 0.3, and that moves our glass back, just like that. Now this might not be exactly did I do that right? Let's Control Z, because I don't think the glass, I think I moved the glass back prematurely. Yeah, I did. Okay. I moved the glass back 0.2 already, so we just need to move it back. I moved the glass and the window frames back before I made the frames. Alright, so it's not 0.3, it's going to be 0.1. So let's GX 0.1. Okay, so that should look more like it really supposed to. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and if I zoom around and look in the back, yeah, that's what we wanted right there. Okay. And let's come over to our glass block. And now here's the thing about the glass block. The glass block does not have a frame. The frame of a glass block is usually some kind of a mortar that comes around the window, just like you're doing bricks. Okay, so we're not going to make a frame for the glass block. What we're going to do is we are going to look for a texture of a glass block window, all right, when we do our texturing. If we can't find one, then what we'll do is we will come into the glass block window and create some divisions, and we will model a glass block, okay, if we can't find a glass block window texture. Okay, so we'll worry about that later. Okay. So really the last thing that we need to do on this wall for now is cut our windows into our people doors. So let's look at our model. Look at our prototype and get an idea of the window on the door itself. So let's do a path, clear. Let's measure that. Click. Let's click. Click. So that's an inch, that's 1.75 feet wide. By, now there's an overhang on that door, but there's not on that one. Well, let's do what we can do best, right? So let's click here, click where I think the window ends. So we're going to call it 3 feet. So it's 1.75 by 3. Okay. So with the door selected, go into edit mode. Now you notice that our wall is split. Okay, our door is split from when we did our loop cuts. Okay. We have extra vertices that we don't need, or they're in the incorrect spot, right? So what we can do is, we know that we're going to need a loop cut at the top of the door for the top of the window, right? And we're going to give it a 1/2 foot thickness at the top. So we want to turn on our vertices, select those vertices, and all we're going to do is we're going to move those vertices up. Okay, and let's turn on our snap for now. Make sure that your auto merge is turned off. Okay, and let's move Z, move those up here. Okay, so they're snapped to the top of our door. Now let's move those down 6 inches. So GZ minus 0.5. Okay, so we don't need to make a loop cut for that one because we used the loop cut previously for those. Alright, now we can add in our other loop cuts. So if my door is 3 feet wide, 3, and our window is 1.75, so let's take 3 minus 1.375. That leaves an inch. What do I wanted to say? It leaves 1.25 on either side. Left over. So half of that, 1.25 divided by 2 is 0.625. Duh. Okay, so let's do a loop cut. Vertical. Click. Drag. I'm going to turn off snap. And move that in the negative Y direction, minus 0.625. Okay, and then we're going to do another loop cut, and we can just actually go right over to this one and move that Y negative 1.75, and the other side should be equal. Okay, so let's do the same thing down here. Control R, click, and move Y minus 0.625, and Control R, click, drag, GY minus 1.75 for the width of our window. Okay. And we said our window is 3 feet tall. So now let's make one more loop cut. Click, drag that up to the top, and GZ minus 3. Okay. Come over here. Loop cut, Control R. Click, move that to the top. GZ minus 3. Okay, so we have our door with the window glass. So let's go polygon select. Select our door windows because we're going to separate those out. Hit P for new selection. Come down here to Office Wall Doors 001 and make that say window. Okay. Go back to our door. See if we can turn off our window. See? Alright. And let's give our door our 0.125 thickness. Alright. So we don't need to be in edit mode for that. Since it's a modifier, solidify thickness 0.125, hit enter. So now our door has thickness. And let's go ahead and apply that. Alright. And let's just take a look at things, zoom in here. Oops, select our door. Just move in there. Turn off our window, see if our thickness worked. Yep. See what it looks like on the inside. Yep, it's pretty much centered. Okay. Now, you can put a frame around the window if you want to, kind of like we did with the ones around here. Like we did with these right here. Okay. So, let's turn our windows on. Select our window. Go into edit mode. Select our polygons. Should have 2. Yep. And let's do an eye. And let's make these 0.1. Okay. And now let's save our glass out to its own selection. So hit P, selection, and rename 001 to glass. Hit enter. Alright. Now we can move our glass. Let's tab out. Select our glass, not the frame, but the glass, and move that back a half thickness of our door, which is, our door thickness is 0.125. So let's move X 0.0625, and that moves our glass, should move our glass to the center of our door. Okay, but our frame has no thickness yet, so let's go into let's do a modifier, except I need to inset of that a little bit. So if our door is 1.275, let me calculate. Okay, so I'm going to make the frames a thickness of, let's add a solidify modifier. I'm going to make the frames 0.1. Okay, but we need to, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that. No, I'm not. I'm not going to apply it yet. I want to now move that back So our door is 1.25, our frame is 0.1, so the difference is 0.025. So we're going to move our frame back GX, because we're moving it in the X direction, 0.0125. That didn't do anything. So, oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It moved it. I just didn't see it move. It's not going to be that much because it's these door frames. So let's do this again. So we're going to move this back GX, half of that. So it's 0.0125. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Hit enter. See what that looks like. Yeah, that's what I wanted right there. Just a little lip in our door. In the flight simulator, you're not going to really tell the difference. Okay? So we now have modeled our doors. Okay? I think we're going to end this video here. So we can turn on our interior walls again. And we can come up here and turn on our Quonset, and we can turn on our roof. Okay, so we have the office wall built. Next video, what we're going to do is we're going to come around this side of our hangar and we're going to model the windows. We're going to work on these hangar doors a little bit. Okay, hey, appreciate you guys coming along and working on part 5 of our hangar, and we will see you on the next video. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, and if you're inclined to, please support me by buying me a coffee, My Physical World, and we will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later.